Hello, everybody, and welcome to Calda Experience and News podcast. I'm Calda, and I'm going to be your host this evening. I like to talk about yesterday's Super Bowl during the halftime. After the halftime was over, I was scrolling and watching people go back and forth and talk about things, and I was scrolling all day today, and I said, I have to sit here and make a few statements on some things. And I'm hoping that I'll make some people realize things. But first, I'd like to say, I will be looking back and forth. I wrote notes down today. So you might see my eyes off for a second just so I can remember. Because everything's coming from real experience. I don't have anything scripted. So I'm hoping maybe I can make some sense to people out there and make them rethink about things and realize real situations that have been happening for years and continuing to happen now. It's not about being on the left side, everybody, and it's not about being on the right side. So let me just clear the air right now about that. I was scrolling all day today, and I'm not upset about people disagreeing. What I'm upset about is people disrespecting each other. And from what I've seen and learned, you're only allowing what I call the other people, the politicians, to win. You're letting them separate us. People choosing sides, people not thinking correctly. Some people were taught totally different. And we'll get into all that as my story continues. This isn't about a show. It's about reaction to culture. Social media rewards outrage, not understanding. So I'm hoping that I can make some understanding for everybody out there. People lately are talking at each other. They're not talking with each other. And that's sad, everyone. That's really, really sad. Why is everything being pushed like this? This is what you need to ask yourself. Who's actually benefiting? Is it we, the people? Honestly, no, we're not benefiting. We're either delaying things or we're not moving forward the right way, the way we should. And that's a shame, everyone. And the people out there that are not understanding and not willing to reason, to maybe learn more, to understand better, shame on you. Because we're all in this together. It's about we, the people. Not me, not I, not you. It's about we. And we all need to come to an understanding with each other. Yes, we're all allowed to have opinions. That's not a problem here. The problem is some people have opinions that aren't correct because they've been taught wrong through the years. And we'll get through that through this video. But I want to talk about a story here about my dad. My dad was an immigrant. I'm first generation. My father came here from Messina, Sicily, on a boat. The boat arrived on Ellis Island. He was very young at the time, everybody, by himself. His father didn't get here till years after. And he had to stay on an island called Ellis Island. And some of you are familiar with that, and others are unaware of it. And he was on that island for 6 months. He had to change his name. He had to be vaccinated. And he wasn't allowed to do much. But as time went on, he was released. As a child, he was released. They put him in boarding school. And when he got to a certain age, he was released from boarding school. He didn't graduate. He didn't have those opportunities. And what he did was he slept under a bridge. in the cold, in the rain. We all know how New York and the weather can get there. And then he ran into an uncle of his. And his uncle took him in. And he worked as a young man. He worked on Mulberry Street on his uncle's fruit stand. And back then, everyone, I mean, I don't know, $2 a day, $3 a day, that was pretty good money. I mean, back in those days, a movie and popcorn used to be a nickel a dime or something. It was crazy, the stories my father used to tell me. But when he got older, he had to serve in World War II. He didn't have a choice. If he didn't go, he was going to jail. That was the way things were back in those days. And today, I want to explain this to everyone. We take things for granted. And when my father got back from the war, I mean, it was possible that something serious could have happened to him, but he ended up becoming a hero. He got medals, and I have all kinds of his memorabilia from when he was alive. And he's told me many, many stories, and I listened. And believe it or not, I learned a lot. And I figured out a lot through my years. I'm 58 years old now. And what's happening now is unbelievable, everyone. Somewhere we got confused. Convenience, we confuse convenience with freedom. And that's sad if you really think about it. Real freedom requires responsibility, sacrifice, and accountability. But people don't see that this way anymore. And these are just common sense things that I'm discussing. You see, so far it doesn't have to do with the left. It doesn't have to do with the right. It has to do with we, the people, and how we treat each other. So I'm hoping that some people will learn from this video a few things. And I'm hoping it'll wake up other people to realize, there is a lot more to life in our country than what it's being portrayed to us as from these bad, dirty politicians. Again, I'm not going left or right, and I may go a little bit right later on in the story, but I don't agree with everything. And I'm honest about how I think about things. And I feel that it's fair because of my experiences of what I've learned in the past. But let's get back to the story. Power isn't just one-sided, everyone. It's two ways. And you need to remember that. Laws outdated. Our laws are outdated. They need to be changed. And they need to be changed dramatically. Because our forefathers, they wrote the rules and things to the best of their knowledge at the time that they were writing them. And along the way, we have changed some laws, but a lot of loopholes in between. And these laws need to be replaced, rethought about, redone, because believe it or not, there's a lot of innocent people, and I'm sure a lot of people out there know this. There's a lot of innocent people in jail. A lot. There's a lot of people in jail that deserve it, but there's also a lot of innocent people. And if that doesn't disturb you a little bit or makes you want to think about things, I'm sorry, but this is the truth, what's coming out of my mouth. And it shouldn't be like that. The results are confusion, the manipulation, people fighting each other. For what? What are you accomplishing fighting with each other? We, the people, should be as one. We should be a team. We are the richest country in the world, but we've been robbed over decades. And we've come to realize things. And yes, everyone, we need law and order. Now, I watched the halftime show today. I didn't watch it last night. I didn't watch either show, to be honest with everyone. And I have to say, I'm really let down by the halftime show. Being American. I mean, come on. It's a language that most people don't understand. I was fortunate enough, I speak a little bit of Italian, very little, but enough, and I understand a little bit of Spanish that can get me by. But for all the other Americans out there, it's sad. That's why there was over 6 million people. That's how many people it was that turned off that halftime show and watched the Kid Rock show. We shouldn't be doing this. Football, sports was supposed to be a place that we could go and relax, sit down, take all our problems away from us, and not have it idolized and shown. It's supposed to make us forget things, not bring us back into politics and things that we don't want our children seeing or being around. It's supposed to be a family event. And when you got a guy grabbing his crotch every 10 seconds, that's not a family show, everyone. And maybe some of you are okay with that, letting your kids see that, and maybe others aren't. So you got to have an open mind about that. You're okay with it, but you have to have an open mind that other families and parents are not okay with that. So it's what was done because of these fake politicians, and trying to make a point. And it's a bad point that they're making. And unfortunately, this is the Democratic side that's doing this. And we don't need to be going against each other. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, everyone, we don't need to be going against each other. We need to be getting together. And we need to protect our safety, our families, our children, our friends, our neighbors. We need to come together to protect one another. And I'll give you a very good example of that happened one time in my lifetime. And if you're around my age, you're going to understand. Even if you're a little younger than me, you're still going to understand. And that was September 11th. That was the first time our country was attacked so badly that day. And if you remember, you were old enough to remember or be around, we lost a lot of people. People jumping out the top floors because the heat was just too much and having nowhere to go but the ground. What did we do? We embraced each other. We stood behind each other, and we made a statement. And we were not going to allow that to happen to us. And we embraced. And you know what? It's sad that something had happened so bad for us to come together like this. But what good was it if we split apart again and not realizing what these sides are doing, the left or the right, the politicians, what they're trying to do to us. Now, let's face it. Other countries that a lot of people are sticking up for, and believe it, when I say a lot, it's only a small amount of people in our country compared to other people that are really willing now, that have had their eyes opened up and bad things have happened to them and their families. And it's sad, but let's face this. Let's wake up to the truth here. We don't need people coming in this country, but these other countries have been using our money, have been using things to buy our people, blackmails, bribes. And they haven't been giving it to the politicians themselves. They give it through family members or businesses or helping them campaign and things of this sort. And this is what the left side's afraid of because it's been exposed. Now, our president, I want everybody to know this. His first term, he did okay. He brought costs down. He did what he thought was right. But he had a lot of people that he had to find out who he could trust. I'm actually glad he didn't win the last term, whether he lost it by cheating or not. Because what it did was it made him wiser and smarter and made him a better man and made him a better president today. And we need to give this man the chance he needs. We don't need to be listening to these politicians say they're standing up for we the people. That's not true. They've been robbing us for decades. Look at Doge, what they found out. We were paying people in Social Security checks that were being cashed, no less. 110 years plus. I've never ran into one single person in my day that somebody lived to 110 years old. And what they're doing is they're getting in between us. They're bringing other people to hurt us on top of bringing other people here for their votes. Having ID for voting, that's a good thing, everyone. Let's face it. You go to the store, they ask you for ID for cigarettes or liquor, and you could be 50, 60 years old. They still want your ID. And part of that reason is so they can track you. But when they lose their information gets broken into, now all of a sudden that's not their fault. Well, first of all, they shouldn't be asking it. I think we've earned the right 40, 30 and above. But I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want to get off base here, but I'm sure everybody's getting the point here. As a country, we need to come together again. These protests, it's not a protest, everyone, if you're destroying things. It's destruction. It's bad. It's not a good thing. That's not a protest. So what, you got to fight? You got to make your point to put some poor family, some husband and wife's business out and lose everything? And now they're afraid and scared, even with insurance money or no insurance money. You don't know somebody's situation. None of us do. And we hurt them. That's not protesting, everyone. That's destruction. And it's illegal. And we need to face this. We need to stick together and we need to learn together more and more. There's no reason in this world that this country and every person in this country, and I'm going to put a high number on there, there's 350 million Americans. So it's a little lower than that. But the money that we've lost over the years is in the trillions. Every American should be a millionaire. Everyone. We shouldn't have any poverty. We shouldn't have any dirty, disgusting cities. Everyone should have a fair chance and a fair break. And that's what these other countries don't like about us. But you're sticking up for them. They don't like that we are the land of the free. That we have the freedom of speech. And you don't have to believe me. You can look it up. You can ask other people that come here honestly and respectfully and ask them why they wanted to leave their country so bad. I've never heard so many people before want to stand up for these places rather than stand up for their country. This makes no sense to me, everyone. And it's sad. It's a shame. Our borders are locked down now. The president and his crew are getting out a lot of people. And whether you like it or not, and you need to see between the lines here, he's not trying to get rid of immigrants that are good people. He doesn't care about that if you listen in between the lines. He wants to get the sick, the crazies, the convicts. He wants them out because they're destroying our country, and that's what they were planted here to do. They're paid. They're paid assassins, everyone. What don't you get? And some of you may be friends with them, helping them because they're giving you money for a weekly paycheck. So that's what makes you happy and makes you want to go out and destroy what our forefathers worked so hard for all these years? This makes no sense to me. And we're better than this, people. We're better than this. And until it's you that something really actually happens severely, then it's okay. But once it happens to you, then all of a sudden, it's not allowed. It's poor you. No. If you don't belong on the street, don't go in the street. Let the military, let ICE, let the police, let them do their jobs. Let them do what they're getting paid for. They have families also. They're only listening to what they're told. And yes, there are a few bad cookies out there, but they'll get it. They'll get theirs in due time, sooner than most people think, because everything and everyone is watching everything now. So stay away from that. Let's rebuild our country the way it should be. And how they've been bribing our politicians is off of tariffs. Trump knows this. And he turned that all around. So we're paying them extra tariffs. We're paying them extra commissions on imports and exports and the whole 9 yards. And they're just taking that money, buying our people, our politicians out. Same thing with the entertainment business. I really don't agree with that anymore. They should be there to entertain us, get us away from all of this. Now they're getting involved. You know why? Because they make more money out of the country. When was the last time, and it's a few times, but they used to do movies here all the time. They don't do it that much here anymore. They're making more money out of here. And now they feel obligated to these other countries because their families are living rich and well. These are your elite people. Is these crooked politicians, the entertainers, and not all of them, they're not all bad, but these are your elites. They're the ones on private planes. They're the ones going anywhere in the world they want, and they do it regularly. So wake up. I'm asking, we the people, wake up. When you Google stuff, don't go back 1 or 2 pages. You got to go back sometimes 100, 200 pages because they tried hiding all of that. Do you realize we have our children out there that can't even cursive write? They can't even read the Declaration of Independence because it's in cursive. That explains everything I'm trying to tell you. Why? Why do you think? Because we've been infiltrated over the years. And some of us lost our minds in thinking our families are taken care of and that's all we want out of life. And yes, we do want that, but we have to help thy neighbor. And we got to work together. If you go look at other countries, Google them. See how beautiful they are. And then come back and Google our states. Oh my God, they're horrible. And go to their countries. Leave your passport at home. See if you can get in. See if they give you medical. And that's another thing. I don't have medical. And I'm a heart patient. Just in the last 4 months. And my prescriptions are very expensive. And I'm losing every day. I have over $250,000 in hospital bills. My life is ruined over it. But I'm not out there asking for handouts. I'm starting my new job, my new career, trying to be a podcaster now. And it would be appreciated if everybody shares my videos, and maybe I can get to some people out there to make them rethink about things. You know, we need to be proud of our red, white, and blue with the stars on it. We need to be proud of that. We need to stand tall. We should never allow anyone to destroy that. Ever. All of our families that fought in the wars and everything else, they fought for that. They fought for our freedom. And whether you know this or not, it's a good thing to go over it. We're always taught it's not good to talk politics or religion. That's nonsense. It's good to talk about that and history. 5 years ago, they tried destroying our statues and all this nonsense. What? And some of you helped them. No. I'm sorry, this is wrong. Our borders need to be protected. Our people need to be protected. And yeah, there's going to be a few bad cookies out there. But you know what? Let them be bad. Let them get locked up. Stay out of it. So innocent people don't get hurt or killed accidentally or deservingly. If you're a mother with children, you have no reason to be in any type of street situation whatsoever nowadays. Because things are being destroyed. So, remember 9/11, everybody. The ones that can remember it, remember how that brought us. I'm going back there for a second. Remember to where that brought us. We embraced. We didn't distance ourselves. We respected each other. And we got the grounds there cleaned up quicker than anything else in the world. That's where we need to be now. We need to start coming together. And believe it or not, the country is turning. And they're starting to realize. Gasoline, for God's sakes, everybody, I paid for Super because I have a bigger motor. But for Super, I paid $2.65 a gallon the other day. And I think it was $1.98, 9 or something for regular. Wow. It hasn't been that low since Trump's last term. And he got it in just under a year, or just a little over a year, however you want to look at it. Don't listen to what these politicians are saying about him. Do you know why? Because here's the truth. He's American born and raised. And if anything, he's married more immigrants than most of us. Remember that also. So it's not that he dislikes it. He loves immigrants. His business was built on immigrants. But they were doing it legally. The reason why these politicians don't want him to be in office and why they're fighting against him so much is because he's hurting their pockets. Let me explain, if everybody remembers his first term before he got elected, when he was on the stage with Hillary Clinton. She threw at him how he cheated his taxes. And he said, plain and simple, that's because you made the laws for people like me to cheat them, so that the people that support you and invest in you can have those breaks to give you the money you need. He was letting out the secrets, everybody. But nobody talked about that. Nobody realized it. And that's why they don't want him in office, because he knows all their secrets. Yeah, he could be a little rough here when he speaks, a little rough there, but that's the New Yorker in him. And you know what? I appreciate that. And you should too. You don't know him. You don't know his family. Most of yous, or not most of yous, some of yous go by hearsay. You believe everything you hear and half of what you see. I was always taught I believe everything I see and half of what I hear. And this is something everyone should remember. So stop fighting. Stop rallying for things to make our country and bring it down. Stay away from those people. It's true. This is no secret. The Somalians in Minnesota stole over, and the number keeps going up. The last number I heard was 10 billion. What could we, 300 and some odd million, do with 10 billion? But that's really a low number, because we've been taking at one time we were going to lose our Social Security, if everybody remembers. Remember this? And then they upped the age. That was the reason for upping the age, to retire. See, I remember a lot of things, everyone. And you don't have to believe me. You can educate yourself and get online and Google every statement I have said so far. Because this is what I've learned in the past. And it makes me sad, because I'm a real patriot. It makes me sad to see how we're not coming together and we're getting pushed apart. And part of that reason is because we're not having an open enough mind to work with each other. So America, I'm asking you to think about these things I'm talking about here. Notice I didn't go on one side or the other. I leaned a little bit more on the right side, and that's because finally we have someone in office that's what he ran on. And he's been keeping every single promise. And all these other politicians are saying, we're here for the people. We're here. No, they're here for their pockets. They're not here for we the people. That's why we have so much poverty. Our president now has already taken away tax on tips, tax on overtime, helping the Social Security retirees. He's looking to drop our deficit, which is a little rough in my eyes, but I think he can pull it off. And there's a way. That's for another story, another day. And all he's doing is getting accused of being the bad guy. I don't get it. And a lot of you are listening to people because you never met the man. It's all based on hearsay, or you think what you read about him. Because at one time, our president, everybody loved him. And I always said, and growing up, because I've been following him my entire life, and I've met him several times, but that being said, growing up, I always wanted to be like him. And that's because I wanted to have so much power and money that they were afraid to let me die. And sure enough, these bankruptcies they tell you about, yeah, he filed, but he did it legally. And what he actually did was renegotiate his terms and bonds on it. So everybody doesn't even know the full true story on this. Yes, I'm sure he lost a couple of things, but most of his investors, I'm almost guaranteeing 95+%, got more than they deserved back. So I'm letting everyone know, let's stop fighting and arguing. And as for that halftime show, okay, God bless them. Spanish people, Puerto Rican people, all right, it was their turn. Next year, let's do an Italian show, okay? No. Maybe some of you just said okay. No. Let's do American shows. When we go to other countries, they don't tell us they're going to learn English. So why are we learning all these other languages? We should know them, don't get me wrong, and some people do. But the main language here is English. If you go to China, Japan, Russia, the main language is their language. And they're not going to speak to you in any other way. And if you don't like it, it's too bad. So why should we be the ones to allow all these things? This is just something I want everybody to think about, okay? I want to thank you for hearing me tonight. I really hope that I am able to make some people think out there. And I would like to say thank you. Thank you for listening to my first show. And there's going to be many more. And I'm going to get into some really deep stuff. And I'm going to let everybody know the truth. Again, my stuff isn't scripted. See, all I have is notes. Nothing's scripted. Everything I say, it comes from experience in the heart. And yes, my experiences are different than yours, and yours are different than somebody else's. And that's where we need to put them together to come up with real answers. But not to hurt each other, not to take our own country out and do the job for these politicians that are feeding their pockets. And that's the real truth, everybody. So, today I'm looking over my notes right here again. Let's honor those who built our country. Those were our families, our fathers, our mothers, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, our uncles, aunts. Let's honor them. Let's make sure that we stand up for what's right. We all have common sense. And let's go back to that again. Let's go back to common sense. So I want to thank you for watching Calda Experience and News, my first podcast. Thank you. And I want to say God bless to everybody. And I hope that I make some people out there think a little bit different and a little bit better. I know everybody's not going to like what I say, and that's okay. But for the most part, we need to embrace, we need to love, and we need to share it with each other. And stop allowing all this nonsense to happen. You have the power. We, the people, have the power of not putting them back in office. We also have the power of joining together and pulling them out. So remember that. It's in the Constitution. So I'm letting you know, enough is enough. Let's work this out. Let's embrace each other like we did years ago. And let's not be fooled or tempted, because every American, everyone in this country should be looked up to from other countries, instead of us going to other countries going, wow, look how beautiful this is. No, that should be us. So remember that, everybody. Thank you, and God bless, and take care. And episode 2 will be out shortly. Good night now. I'm Anthony Calda.